My world turned upside down at my sister-in-law's beach wedding last month. I'm 28, and my wife is 26. We've been married for 3 years, dated for 2 years before that. Everything was perfect until that day. The week before the wedding was busy. My wife spent a lot of time helping with preparations, staying at her sister's place for 3 days. I understood it's what family does. I hadn't seen her for days, so I drove to her parents' house the morning of the wedding, hoping to catch a quick moment with her. Instead of coming out to greet me, she sent her younger brother. He said she'd meet me at my car. When she finally came out, something fell off. She got in, gave me a quick kiss, and dropped a bomb that would change everything. "There's something you should know before the reception," she said. "The best man and we had a thing about 4 years ago. I don't want you to be surprised if you hear anything." I sat there stunned, but trying to keep things calm. I told her it was fine and thanked her for letting me know. As she went back inside, my mind started racing. 4 years ago. We've been together for 5 years. Something wasn't adding up. During our first year and a half together, there was a period when she acted strange. She wasn't available when she usually would be, and went on 2 camping trips with work friends. The pieces were starting to fit, and I didn't like the picture they were making. At the ceremony, I kept my composure. During the reception line, I had to shake hands with the best man, someone I'd never met before. The real punch came when my wife told me she had to dance with him because of some last-minute partner switch. I watched them dance, joke, and laugh together. She even brought him over to properly introduce us. They talked about old times while I sat there, feeling like an outsider in my own marriage. When I couldn't take it anymore, I went to the bathroom. Coming back, she had the nerve to call me rude. She threatened to leave early, saying I was ruining her sister's day. I hadn't said a word or done anything, except maybe look miserable. When she changed clothes and came back angry, I offered to leave so she could stay and enjoy herself. She insisted we should stay, but then said I should leave if I couldn't act better. When we got home, I asked her to tell me the story again. After her retelling, I pointed out the timeline didn't add up. Instead of denying it, she simply said, "I know." What followed was the worst conversation of my life. She explained it was just physical with her coworker, saying we weren't in a great place at the time. She called it a mistake, but insisted it didn't matter now because we were married and it happened before that. The part that hurt the most wasn't just the cheating, it was her attitude. She didn't seem guilty. When I got upset, she called me childish, saying this had no bearing on our current life. She said I was being immature about something that happened way before marriage. 2 weeks passed, and I couldn't look at her the same way. Part of me thought I was being stupid. It happened years ago, and our marriage had been great until now. But another part of me felt betrayed twice, once when it happened, and again by her dismissive reaction to my pain. She tried talking to me, but instead of understanding my feelings, she tried making me feel guilty for not letting it go. I was lost, hurt, and angry, not just about what happened years ago, but about how she handled telling me at her sister's wedding, making me watch them dance together, and now telling me my feelings didn't matter. Things changed when my wife finally realized I wasn't going to just get over it. She had a panic attack that landed her in the emergency room. They kept her overnight and prescribed new anxiety medication. This brought her family into the situation. At home, she asked to spend time with her mom. I went to work to clear my head, but she texted me to come back urgently. When I got home, her dad was waiting on the porch. I expected the worst, him defending his daughter or blaming me. Instead, he surprised me. "I need to apologize," he said. "I failed as a parent." This idea that nothing before marriage counts, that came from their mother. I told her years ago it was wrong to teach the girls that, but the damage was done. He wasn't excusing what she did, just explaining why she thought marriage would erase everything before it. He said he respected me, no matter what I decided. Inside, I found my wife curled up crying with her mom. After her parents left, we had our first honest conversation. She opened up about everything. The timeline was earlier than she first said. We weren't engaged when it happened, which was a relief. I'd been sick thinking about that. It happened 3 different times during those camping trips, all within a couple of months. When I asked why I wasn't enough, why she didn't just leave me, I broke down. She held me while I cried, but honestly, I don't remember what she said then. Nothing could have made it better. I told her the betrayal was terrible, but her reaction at the wedding was just as bad. She agreed and apologized for calling me immature. She said she really thought being married now would make it not matter. It hit her hard when I said our happiness felt built on lies. She nearly had another panic attack. That night, I let her sleep while I thought things through. The next day, I wasn't as sympathetic. I told her how humiliating it was to watch her dance with him, to shake his hand, to hear them laugh about old times. She apologized again, saying she thought acting normal would make me less suspicious. Her sister had told her how wrong that was. Then came the worst part. I learned her brother-in-law knew about it too. That's why she finally told me. She was afraid her sister would spill the beans. She got defensive when I asked if anything happened during the wedding preparations, saying she'd never cheat while married. That's when I lost it and had to leave. Her attitude about marriage being some magical line that made everything okay was driving me crazy. When I came back, she finally asked what she could do to help me get past this. It was the first time she offered to help instead of just expecting me to move on. She promised she'd been faithful since marriage and would never break her vows. I thanked her sarcastically, which wasn't my finest moment. Then I asked for a break from talking until Wednesday. I had work to finish, and honestly, I was exhausted. My feelings kept swinging between wanting to throw her out and wanting to forget everything and move forward. It wasn't what anyone would want here, but that's where things stood. I still loved her, even though I was angry. I just needed time to figure out what to do next. I moved in with my brother Josh temporarily. It wasn't an easy decision, but I needed space to think. He's been amazing through all this, letting me crash at his place and playing video games with me to keep my mind off things. My wife and I had a long talk before I left. We started at 6 p.m. and finished around 2 a.m. She was on anxiety medication, but I could still see how nervous she was. She told me that not showing her affection felt like torture. I laid everything out. The main issue wasn't just the cheating, it was that she took away my choice. If I had known back then, I wouldn't have stayed with her. We built our relationship on something that wasn't real. But we did build something good, and maybe that could be saved. She finally understood why I was upset. She admitted she knew it was cheating when it happened, and she hid it because she knew I would leave. Her twisted logic was that marriage would erase it all. She thought I wouldn't care after we were married because it happened before. Being religious, she saw marriage as this magical thing that would make everything okay. We set some rules for moving forward. First, she can never contact that guy again. That's non-negotiable. Second, we need couples therapy. Third, while I'm living with Josh, neither of us can see other people. We're still married, just living apart temporarily. I told her we need to start over. I can't see her the same way anymore, but maybe we can build something new. She agreed to everything, desperate to save our marriage. I went to a divorce lawyer and had papers drawn up, 3 copies. One for the lawyer, one for her, one for me. When I gave them to her, I explained I wasn't filing them, but keeping them ready just in case. This backfired badly. She had been trying so hard, doing everything right. We'd had some great dates, and things were improving. Then I showed up with divorce papers and triggered another anxiety attack. We ended up in the ER again. I stayed with her for 2 days after that. In therapy, I realized I'd been manipulative with the divorce papers. The look on her face when I handed them to her, I never want to see that again. I tore up both copies in front of her. She doesn't know about the 3rd copy at the lawyer's office, but I plan to have that destroyed too. Now I'm moving back home. Josh has been great, but it's time. My wife has done everything I asked and more. She's paid for a mistake with panic attacks, therapy, and watching me pull away. The thing is, I do love her. She made a terrible choice years ago, but until this came out, she'd been an amazing wife. We're not fixed. We're not even close. But we're trying, and that's something. Some people might call me weak for staying, but they don't live my life. I know what makes me happy, and despite everything, she still does. It's going to take time. A lot of time. Trust doesn't come back overnight, and some days are harder than others. But we're working on it together now, not just her expecting me to get over it or me punishing her for the past. I don't know if we'll make it in the long run, but I know we both want to try, and for now, that's enough to keep going. Maybe that's what marriage really is, not some magical fix-all, but two people choosing to work through things together, even when it's hard. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.